Hai Jakadara, so pasti kamu sudah duduk manis di depan radio idola kamu, Ptpn Beautiful Music Station, yang kali ini bakal menggelar satu paket eksklusif untuk kamu, Donovan Interview. Wah, bangga banget deh rasanya kita bisa wawancara langsung dengan penyanyi dan aktor yang lagi jadi idola remaja di seluruh jagat ini. Setelah kita pernah juga nempel Ingrid Malmsteen, Jordan Eltman, juga Swendy Henderson beberapa waktu yang silam. Dan terus terang, semua ini berkat kerjasama yang apik antara Radio Ptpn dengan Polygram Record yang dengan bersusah payah mengatur jadwal temu dengan Donovan. Hingga akhirnya kita bisa kontak langsung dan jadilah satu paket eksklusif yang dengan sangat bangga kita persembahkan untuk kamu semua. Rekan saya, Dr. Erna dari Ptpn Rasitania mendapat kesempatan emas untuk wawancara langsung dengan Donovan.
How did you find out you were going to do this? I presume it was a surprise. Was it a surprise?
Yeah, it was a surprise actually. It was something that I didn't expect, to be honest. I think we all sort of get to a point, I suppose, particularly last year, where I felt that the pop industry is a little fickle, I think, you know, and it goes up and down, and it basically plays havoc on one's sort of stress levels, really. As a record gets released, you know, you sort of disappear into hiding for a while. I've tried to be as realistic as I possibly can about that career, and realise that those moments will come. It's not all smooth sailing, and I think one thing that I felt to ensure that people knew, without pressing the point, that I was serious about what I do, was to go into the theatre. I'd never envisaged doing an Andrew Lloyd Webber production in my life. You know, I always probably thought that I'd start out of town and work my way into town. I sort of started at, 6 foot and in the pool, really, at the deep end. But Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat is very much a simple story, yet and simply written. It's not a complicated Phantom of the Opera or an Evita, and that's what I think appealed to me more so than anything, because although it was going on in a large way, I was used to playing to a large audience with the tour that I did last year. It was still going to be simplistic in its content. It was going to demand something of me differently, but I could still play around with things a little bit, and that's why I sort of thought, yeah, this is going to be right.
Pendengar, saya tanyakan pada Jason bagaimana dia bisa melakukan hal ini. Bukankah itu merupakan suatu kejutan atau suatu surprise? Ya, dia mengatakan memang benar, ini sebuah surprise bagi dia, karena semuanya tidak terduga sebelumnya. Anda tahu bahwa tahun kemarin, kata dia, industri rekaman pop tidak menentu, kadang turun, kadang naik. Nah, seperti juga saat rekaman dia yang dirilis pertama kali, tampaknya adem-adem saja, sehingga menjadikan dia harus bersikap lebih realistis, tidak terlalu muluk-muluk. Nah, satu hal yang dia yakini adalah bahwa orang-orang tahu bahwa dia selalu serius di dalam hal tertentu. Sebelumnya, dia nggak pernah berpikir untuk bergabung dengan Andrew Lloyd Webber Production, karena dia mula-mula hanya akan memulai karirnya dari kota dia sendiri. Namun akhirnya harus diakui bahwa memang dia mempunyai kemampuan menghadapi audiens di dalam teater. I remember when you and Clay did a program that I was producing called Rock Climbers a wee while ago. I was very impressed by Blue Monday being one of your choices of music. You obviously do have a more serious approach to music than the stock Aidan Whitterman career might indicate.
Yeah, I've always have. I mean, I'm not one of these people that sort of stands up and wants to be noticed. I prefer to just mix into the crowd, and if people want to listen to me, then that's their choice. If they want to come and see the show, well, they can come and see the show. My music actually influences extend more from alternative music, of New Orders, of The Cure, of The Smiths, Joy Division, even Heaven 17, all those sort of bands actually that influenced me at that prime period of 15, 16, 17. And although they're not Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, also a lot of those musicians have extended on and become, shall we say, commercial. I mean, electronic. You know, a few Johnny Marr and Bernard Summers. Is that correct? Sumner. Those sort of people, it's interesting to see them develop on and careers go in different areas like that. And I think that's the exciting thing for me, is that to do something like this is unexpected in some ways. Joseph and Jason can be seen as quite similar people, but who would have thought I'd be doing a West End musical? I don't think most people would have. And I think that's a good thing about a career, is that unexpected sort of what's going to happen next.
Penyiar, saya menanyakan saat dia memproduksi suatu program yang disebut dengan Rock Climbers yang dikerjakan bersama dengan Kill. Saya begitu berkesan dengan lagunya yang berjudul Blue Monday yang menjadi pemikiran musik dari dia. Dia kelihatannya amat serius daripada karier stok Ethan Waterman. Ya, dia mengatakan bahwa Anda tahu bahwa saya serius. Anda juga tahu bahwa dia bukan sejenis orang yang selalu gila hormat. Dia mengatakan dia lebih suka datang dan berbaur. Jika mereka ingin mendengarkan musik dia, itulah pilihan mereka. Dan jika mereka ingin melihat show dia atau show dari Jason Donovan, maka mereka akan datang. Musik dia berpengaruh sedikit lebih banyak dari alternatif musik New Order, The Cure, The Smith, Joy Division, dan bahkan Heaven 17. Grup-grup itulah yang sebenarnya banyak mempengaruhi dia pada masa-masa usia 15, 16, dan 17 tahun. Dalam hidup dan karir Jason Donovan, dia ingin berkembang ke arah yang sedikit berbeda dari mereka-mereka. Anda tahu bahwa Joseph and Jason bisa dilihat sebagai orang yang hampir sama. Tapi siapa yang tahu bahwa dia akan melakukan sesuatu yang sama dengan musik West End? One thing I must ask you to do for younger listeners is actually to explain the story and where it comes from. If we assume we have got an 14, 15 years old who haven't seen the production of it, they were no longer taught religion's education in the same way that certainly I was. And probably you were. So if you could refer to the Bible story and just say reasonably quickly what the story is about.
Well, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, it comes from the biblical story about Joseph and Jacob. Jacob and sons, I guess, is the best way to sort of look at. Of course, there's Joseph and Benjamin, who are actually blood brothers as such. The rest are, shall we say, brothers from other marriages of various sort of people. Which is another story within itself. But the story about Joseph is about a young boy who is a dreamer, who has aspirations and ideals that he lives by. He's almost the ugly duckling out of the pack in some sort of ways, although he's not, although he's supposed to be very lucky in the sense that he's and please don't excuse me for saying this, but his opening line is, "I look handsome, I look smart, I am a walking work of art." He doesn't say that in an egotistical way, although it implies that. That to him is like he has been given the coat as a representation of his special relationship with Jacob, and he feels that he has been a bit of a chosen one, and consequently, he's also had these dreams, and through the story, without giving too much away, the brothers find that they have a jealousy, and they actually put their brother Joseph into it, and they send him off not to be tortured, but to be tortured within his own soul, I guess. And he has to rescue himself from that, and he does that emotionally and physically, and also becomes a very close friend of the Pharaoh, who is the leader of Egypt at the time. And Pharaoh takes him in and says, "Hey Joseph, you can be my number two," as the actual story sort of tells. And eventually, the coat becomes the symbol at the end of the show, to show that he has gone through this period in his life, that the brothers actually come back to him. It's a really complicated story, but Joseph places a cup in Benjamin's sack at the end of the show, which is basically a symbol and representation to see whether the brothers are actually going to be true to themselves and true to him. And the show ends with the coat as a symbol of what Joseph has put everybody else through, but how it unites everybody. It's it can be related to anybody, I think, this story, and that's the sort of the beauty of Tim Rice's lyrics, is that they're so simple yet so precise, and the music reflects that as well. Andrew's music, of course, reflects that. But I would really advise anybody who wants an in-depth, I'm not great at explaining it, but an in-depth look at the actual the content of the show in the Bible. It's there, Genesis chapter 39.
Pada kesempatan ini, saya menanyakan mengenai pendapatnya tentang pendengar muda yang tidak mendapatkan pendidikan seperti orang-orang tua mengenai agama. Nah, tentunya saya meminta dia untuk menceritakan mengenai cerita dari Bible yang berjudul Joseph yang dijadikan perannya. Well, Joseph dan The Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat memang berasal dari Bible, yaitu cerita tentang Joseph dan Jacob. Jacob dan anak-anaknya adalah cara-cara yang terbaik untuk melihat kehidupan. Di samping itu, mungkin masih ada yang lainnya, misalnya cerita tentang Joseph dan Benyamin. Cerita tentang Joseph sendiri merupakan cerita seorang anak muda pemimpi. Dalam satu sisi, dia memang beruntung. Itu jika kita lihat dari kata-katanya. Aku kelihatan ganteng, aku kelihatan pintar, aku adalah pekerja seni yang tidak pernah diam. Nah, dia mengatakan bahwa itu suatu gagasan yang egoistis, tapi itu mencerminkan yang sebenarnya. Bagi Joseph, kata Jason, sepertinya telah diberi sesuatu tanda bahwa dia mempunyai hubungan yang khusus dengan Jacob, sehingga dia mempunyai mimpi-mimpi tersebut. Karena kecemburuan saudara-saudaranya, mereka mencemplungkannya ke dalam sumur. Dia harus berusaha menyelamatkan dirinya sendiri, sehingga dia pada akhirnya bahkan menjadi teman dekat pemimpin Mesir Firaun. Pada akhir cerita kita temukan baju sebagai simbol kesatuan. Ya, memang itu semuanya menyatukan setiap orang. Itulah lirik atau cantiknya lirik yang dibuat oleh Tim Rice. Kalau Anda mau mengetahui secara komplit, demikian pendapat dari Jason, cerita tersebut silakan Anda cek di Genesis bagian 39. Pendengar, dalam akhir wawancara, Jason juga mengatakan bahwa dia menyampaikan salamnya buat semua kaula muda yang ada di Indonesia, khususnya yang ada di Surakarta.
Well, jaga darah, kita pisah sampai di sini dulu. Sebelumnya, saya ucapkan terima kasih untuk Bapak Lee Chun-Chian dari Polygram International yang telah mempercayakan kerjasama ini dengan 100.2 FM Ptpn Rasitania hingga terselenggaranya acara ini. Pewawancara Dr. Erna, sedangkan saya Ricky pemandu acara, kemudian scriptwriter dan tata musik Tony Hartono, undur diri dari acara ini. Goodbye now.